Hey, did you catch the latest earnings release from India Pesticides Limited? Looks like they've had a pretty interesting quarter and 9 months.
I did. India Pesticides Limited, right? They're all about manufacturing agrochemical technicals and APIs, and they're expanding into formulations too. It seems like they're making some moves in the market.
Right, and they're not just any manufacturer, they are the sole Indian manufacturer actually, and a leading global producer of thiocarbamide, fungicide, and herbicide technicals. So, what's your take on their recent performance?
Well, for the 9 months ended December 31st, 2024, their total revenue jumped to 633 crore rupees, a 12% increase year on year. The EBITDA was at 101 crore rupees, giving them a margin of 15.9%, and the net profit hit 62 crore rupees with a PAT margin of 9.8%.
Impressive. And what about just the third quarter?
Okay, so in Q3 FY25, the total income was 175 crore rupees, which is a 13% jump year on year. EBITDA came in at 29 crore rupees with a margin of 16.7%, and net profit stood at 16 crore rupees, showing a PAT margin of 9.2%.
Okay, those numbers sound pretty solid, actually. Any idea what's driving this growth?
Well, according to Mr. Anand S. Agarwal, the director, founder, and promoter, the revenue growth in Q3 was driven by increased volumes, which shows there's strong demand for their products. However, pricing adjustments in international markets kind of affected their margins a bit.
So it's a bit of a mixed bag then. Increased demand is great, but pricing pressure is a challenge. Did they mention anything about costs?
They did. Freight costs went up because of those logistical issues in the Red Sea, and they're also investing in R&D and their workforce. So, those are long-term investments that are adding to their cost base.
Right, makes sense. Gotta spend money to make money, as they say. Speaking of long term, what's their outlook for the future?
They seem pretty optimistic about the agrochemical sector's growth. They're focusing on operational efficiencies and innovation to stay ahead and deliver value to their stakeholders.
Gotcha. So I guess they're banking on continued growth and are investing to maintain their leadership. Now, what about their financial health overall? Anything that stood out in the release?
Well, they're working on expanding their manufacturing capabilities, especially at the Sandila and Hamidpur plants. They're also trying to be less reliant on China with the China Plus One strategy. Plus, they've got a planned capital expenditure of 110 crore rupees for FY25 to boost capacity.
Okay, so they're putting their money where their mouth is, expanding and diversifying. Did they talk about any specific products or segments that are doing particularly well?
Yeah, technicals and APIs are still a big chunk of their revenue. In fact, they constituted about 64% of their revenue for the 9 months. They also have branded formulations in herbicides, fungicides, and insecticides.
Okay, good diversification there. So, anything else we should know about India Pesticides? Maybe something about their ethical practices or sustainability efforts?
Absolutely. They're big on sustainability. For instance, they've got this Nirmal Jal Paryojana project focused on rainwater harvesting, and they're reviving ponds. Plus, they're working on holistic development in villages, skill training, and awareness drives.
That's great to hear. It's not just about the bottom line, they're also giving back to the community. It is important to note, though, disclaimer, we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions.
Exactly. They even won a CSR Impact Award for their projects. They're collaborating with the UP police to raise awareness on preventing child sexual abuse. And they've created child-friendly police centers.
Wow, that's some really impactful work. So, wrapping things up, what's your overall assessment of India Pesticides Limited?
I think they're on a solid growth path. They've got a good mix of products. They're expanding strategically, and they're investing in R&D and sustainability. The increased volumes show strong demand, even if they're facing some margin pressures.
It sounds like they're navigating the challenges well. And for anyone wanting to dive deeper, they had a conferences call on February 11th.
Exactly. Overall, India Pesticides Limited seems well positioned for future growth, balancing financial performance with social responsibility.
Well, this has been quite insightful. Thanks for breaking down the India Pesticides Limited earnings report.
No problem. Always a pleasure to dive into the numbers and see what's happening in the agrochemical world.
Hey, if you're enjoying our podcast, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful financial analysis.
Absolutely. We've got a lot more coming up, so stay tuned.
Now, let's move on to another important question for the company, which is how are they handling their environmental responsibilities?
Oh, for sure. They're really focusing on being environmentally and socially responsible, like they've achieved Zero Liquid Discharge certification at their facilities.
That's impressive. I mean, that shows a real commitment to minimizing their environmental footprint.
Right? And they're using the Miyawaki technique to boost greenery around their manufacturing sites. It's this method where you plant a bunch of different native species really close together to create dense, self-sustaining forests quickly.
So that's a pretty innovative approach, like mimicking natural forest ecosystems to speed things up. So basically, they're trying to create mini forests around their plants.
Exactly. Plus, they've implemented the 5 Rs principle: reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, and refuse. And they've got advanced systems like effluent treatment plants, ETPs, and reverse osmosis RO to manage waste and water.
Okay, so they're not just talking the talk, they're actually putting in the systems and processes to back it up. It's like adapting a recipe when you're missing some key ingredients.
Aha, that's a good analogy. And on the social side, they're doing skill development programs for local communities, upgrading sanitation facilities, and even installing solar streetlights in villages.
So it sounds like they're trying to create a win-win situation, actually benefiting both the environment and the communities where they operate.
Exactly. They've even got this food forestation project where they're turning idle lands into productive areas for growing fruits and vegetables. It improves local nutrition and food security.
Okay, now that's a really creative idea, especially in areas where land might not be used efficiently otherwise. It's like instead of just letting the land sit there, they're making it a food source.
Right? It's all about making a positive impact and, contributing to sustainable development. So what do you think? Pretty comprehensive approach, right?
Yeah, I'm impressed. It's good to see a company taking environmental and social responsibility seriously. It's not just about profits. It's about making a positive contribution.
Totally agree. It's becoming increasingly important for companies to focus on these aspects, especially with growing awareness and concern about sustainability.
Well, before we sign off, let's give our listeners a friendly reminder. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you found this discussion insightful.
Until next time, take care and stay informed.
Bye for now.